So, over 2 years ago, I decided to start a new free to play account from scratch to see how far I can take it. My goal was to be able to finish the rotating endgame modes consistently and also to see how much I can keep up with power creep in the long run. I started the account during version 2.0 when Pentaconi was still pretty fresh. I decided to focus on Acheron and Firefly. They performed really well at low investments at the time, and I thought I could just kind of coast through endgame and not worry about it too much. And for a while I did, going all the way to 2.7. Everything that I had on the account were at E0, and the only limited signature light cones that I had was for Acheron. Nothing could stop me from getting full stars in endgame at the time. As we went into Amphoreus, I decided to pull for Big Herda at E0S1 to have a new team to build around. But I was already starting to see the cracks on the account. Acheron was still doing okay thanks to endgame still having some AoE bias, but my Firefly was starting to fall behind. Enemy toughness bars got inflated and it became harder to break. Firefly was at E0, I didn't pull Fugue, and MOC was starting to take 6 to 7 cycles with the break team alone. Things got really bad when the 3.1 MOC came around. That was the rotation that introduced Flame Reaver on the first side and Kafka plus the 2 horses on the second side. My Big Herda was able to recycle Flame Reaver, but nothing else I had was able to clear the second side in time for a 3-star clear. Lucky for me though, the version 3 anniversary update gave everyone a free gold token. I exchanged mine for E1 Rame, and she was able to get me the 7-cycle clear with E0 Firefly on the second side. Now at that point, I was still thinking about whether I wanted to pull for Castorice, or if I wanted to just vertically invest in what I already have instead. I was pretty broke, and I just lost the 50-50 on the Tribi banner. That was when I realized that I was actually pretty rich during the first year of this account because I had a lot of Stellar Jays that I could get from old events. On the other hand, now that the account is 1 year older, I had less Stellar Jays to work with, and it was going to be much harder to pull for 2 new teams from scratch than it was a year ago. Could I really afford to pull 2 new teams at this point? And it was at that moment where I had to ask myself, do I still want Castorice and hope that I don't miss their teammates along the way? Or do I just vertically invest into what I already have? In the end, I decided to go with vertical investment. Now, admittedly, I already had 1 foot in the door since I got Rame to E1, but I also thought that it would be an interesting experiment and I wanted to see how it plays out 1 year later. People were already talking about Firefly falling off around this time, and they would be correct if we were only looking at E0 across the board. But what if I got Firefly to E2? And I also got some investments for the rest of the team. And at that moment, I was thinking, you know what? I am going to be going all in. So I skipped Castorice, I pulled Fugue with what I had, and I decided that if I were to pull anyone new, they have to support the team that I already have. If I stick to my pulling plan here, it also meant that if a new character belongs to a team that I don't have, I can just skip them. I don't have to always go in for the latest and greatest. The meta will come and go as Hoyoverse Priest. But what I can do is to pull for teammates that synergizes well with what I already have, build functional teams, and do my best to brute force content that doesn't favor any of my teams. That to me is the essence of vertical investment. If you happen to invest into a meta team, then that's great. You can just kind of take it easy with E0 investments for as long as they are being shielded for. But if you have a favorite character or team and you want to see them continue to perform beyond their shielding periods, investing smartly will go a very long way. To kind of circle back to my free-to-play account here, when Hyacinth arrived, I realized that because I didn't pull for Castorice, I could skip Hyacinth. I know it's a pretty crazy thing to say in hindsight, but if you didn't need another sustain and you didn't have any HP scalers, it is a legitimate option. The context definitely matters here. In any case, I was able to skip and save until 3.4 arrived. I was laser focused on Tribi and Firefly reruns. Fortunately, after exhausting every source of Stellar Jays that I had at the time, along with skipping the previous patch, I was able to secure over 200 pulls by the end of version 3.4. I ended up getting Tribi to E1, which was a huge boost for my Big Herda and Acheron, and I also got my Firefly to E2. Firefly can finally take full advantage of Fugue's Exo toughness, and I was starting to be able to use Firefly more as well. Getting my hands on E0 S1 Archer was also a pretty good bonus. I had Sparkle from way back in version 2.0, and that meant that I basically got a new free team on the spot, which was pretty cool. Now, all of this also meant that I had to skip Phainon, but I was determined to stick to my plan. As far as reruns were concerned, I also went for a big herd of Eidolons, but unfortunately, I was only able to end up with E1 instead of E2. I guess I'll have to get lucky with E2 on the next rerun. Fortunately for me, DHPT being free was also huge, and it allowed me to pull his light cone without too much trouble, so that was pretty good. Now, when the Dahlia was revealed, I saved up enough pulls to secure E0S1, which ended up making my Firefly team the best team that my free-to-play account has, even to this day. If I was luckier, I could have had Eidolons on both Dahlia and Few, but it is what it is. I do have enough to secure Dahlia's E1 on her next rerun, so I'm kind of looking forward to it. Now, as far as endgame is concerned, MOC, Pure Fiction, and APOC Shadow are in a pretty good spot. So you might be wondering how Anomaly Arbitration has been going for my free-to-play. At this moment, I'm able to guarantee at least 6 stars in the night stages at a minimum, and for the past 3 rotations, I've been able to get 3 stars on the King stage, and it is all thanks to the Firefly. For a free-to-play account that is missing the 2 main pushes of Antorius, I think the results are pretty solid. Aside from the Firefly team, my big Herta is currently at E1S1, and she's kind of hanging on. My Archer is at E2, and he's doing a really good job. My Acheron team is starting to fall behind a little bit, but I'm looking forward to working on her again in the future. Silver Wolf is definitely going to go into my 50-50 loss pool, and if I can manage to get her to E2 this way, then my Acheron will definitely be making a comeback. I started version 3 with only an E0 Firefly and an E0 Ramei, and I ended version 3 with basically a monster. It come at the cost of skipping the entire premium Remembrance lineup, as well as Phainon, Maide, Ceridra, Cypher, Hycealins, and Cyrene, but it was 100% worth it. If I had to do all of this all over again, I would do it with no regrets. I am now a vertical investment believer. I decided to skip Elation on this account, and I will continue to focus on the teams that I already have. I'll think about pulling a new team during version 4 later, but currently not really in a rush to do that right now. At the end of the day, the meta is always going to change, but with some vertical investment, you can keep your favorites going for a pretty long time. I hope you guys enjoyed my rambling. Feel free to drop a comment if you have any questions. I also post my free-to-play endgame clear records on Hoyo Lab, so if you're curious, check out the link in my description below. I stream on Twitch every week, and I do a lot of endgame related stuff live, so don't be shy. Feel free to stop by and say hi. This is the first time I'm doing a video like this, so if you're a fan, like and subscribe for more like this in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.